And greetings, everybody. Welcome to the WyoNation post-game show. I am Chad Smith, and I'm joined, as always, with Mr. Brad Reed. Good evening, Brad.
That was crazy.
Yes. I think most people are probably asking, or I am, what did we just witness?
Crazy.
Because Wyoming had no business winning that football game, but they have won that football game.
They have. Appalachian was a very good team, and I suspected that they were a very good team from the get-go. They were a much faster team on both sides of the football. They were good. They were good. Their quarterback was very good. And we won, so they can suck it.
We have Brian Murphy in the stream with us on YouTube. Hello. Howdy, says Brian. Welcome. So, yes, if you are new to the post-game show, if you're watching this on Twitter, you can actually interact with us only on YouTube, where you can share your thoughts in the chat room. So head on over to youtube.com/@WyoNation, and you can see us there. What's going on here? Oh, we have more things. Here we go. We got Zach is in the stream. He says, "Go Pokes." Welcome, Zach. And then Brian's got some stats, and trust me, yes, we'll get to the stats for sure. But the only stat in the end that matters is what, Brad?
That's a win in the column, sir.
Yes, points.
Well, yeah.
No matter, points is the only stat that really does matter. And Wyoming today had 22 points compared to Appalachian State's 19.
Yeah, boy, it was looking pretty bleak there after
pick six.
App State got that pick six. That was probably, that looked like a dagger for sure. And honestly, it was probably a long time coming. I mean, App State was sitting on that route waiting for it to happen because Wyoming just kept throwing it. So they were waiting on it, and they, got enough pressure in there to force a bad throw, and took it back. And at that point, it's just like, well, here we go again.
Yeah. So I guess
was getting ready to start beating on my Evan Svoboda drum, but I didn't have to do that. So,
oh, I was. Trust me.
Yes. I know. If anybody looked at your Twitter feed tonight, they knew.
Yes. Well, I wasn't calling him for directly. I mean, but he is the backup quarterback. But we'll get into that. There's plenty of time. Let's start with the positives first. And that would be the continued of our horse running back in the stable, one Mr. Harrison Whaley. 17 carries, 156 yards, capped by that really, which changed the whole situation of the game, right?
Run.
Was the 75-yard touchdown run. So 17 rushes, 156 for the touchdown, average of 9.2 per carry to cap off what he did in his first game as a Poke at Texas. So I think it's safe to say that Harrison Whaley is the real deal.
Yeah, and he's a junior, so that's pretty good news for us. The interesting thing about that play, he took it to the house on that home run, but the offensive line, I don't think they had played a particularly great game up until that point. Peasley was under a lot of pressure all night. The running game was kind of just middling along, and then Whaley just took that thing to that. The offensive line opened the gates, as it were, and he was gone. I don't even know if he got touched. He maybe did, and he was gone in a hurry.
Yeah, if he did, it was at the line of scrimmage, someone might have gotten a pinky on him.
Yeah, that was the shot of energy the stadium and everybody else on earth needed. So then
it did. It really turned everything on a dime because
And I don't know if you heard the sideline reporter post game, but when she was talking to Craig Bull after the game, she said that blocked field goal was the first one in Wyoming history
for a touchdown. Yes, I'm very surprised by that. I've never heard that. We've never done that before.
Yeah, that was very surprising. I did not expect to hear that, but I didn't expect a lot of things today. So here we are.
Yeah, and that's going to come from obviously Wyoming Sports Information Director Tim Harkins is on top of these things.
Tim Harkins, for sure.
I'm sure they've had that teed up for probably every game for the last 30 years.
Tim's just got it on the top of his notebook that he carries around the press box, just waiting to drop that nugget on somebody. And he finally got to check that one off the list before, he retires someday.
All right. Our buddy Shay is in the chat room as always. And he's saying that you witnessed the 2014 FAU game. What is that in reference to, Shay?
Kind of. I mean, Dave Christensen didn't try to fight somebody at the end of this game, so we're one ahead of that.
So I guess what is he trying to say? There. I was actually at that game. The 2014 FAU game, I was at that game.
You were still a Florida man then.
Because I was living in Florida at the time, yes. And I don't know, did we win? I think we lost. I don't know. I don't even remember.
There was that game where Dave Christensen tried to fight that assistant at the end of the game down in Miami.
Okay.
And that was that FAU game, and I'm pretty sure that we walked that one off or something. It had a very strange ending, and one of their assistant coaches was very short and very mad. So I still have that picture from the post game in my head, and it's still hilarious to this day.
Okay. Well, you have a memory of an elephant.
Which is weird considering I got Pliny the Elder in my hand.
Yes. Other things, I guess, of note, right? The defense really, if you think about the defense, they only really gave up 12 points.
No touchdowns.
Right? They gave up 4 field goals. So
And what was App State averaging for points coming into this game? We said that on the podcast earlier this week, but
I think it was like 25. Hold on, I have it right here. Let me pull it up really quickly just by going to the Fun Belt. So that's going to be the best way to do it. And scoring offense heading into this week, boys and girls. Appalachian State was number 2 in the Fun Belt at 40 points a game. And we held them to 19.
12 offensive points.
12 offensively. That's just ridiculous. The defense, I don't even know how they do it because they have so much pressure on them week in and week out. And I think we talked about this on the roundup, right? It's just ridiculous how they're able to perform under the pressure that they're put under week after week after week.
And the crazy thing is tonight I don't even really feel like the defense played particularly well. Like
they were first half particularly tackling was horrific.
Yeah, and they struggled to get off the field on third down a lot tonight.
Yes,
they had a lot of favorable third down situations.
Final numbers on that, Brad.
Get off the field.
App State was 10 of 19.
Yeah, that's a lot of conversions.
I think they've had 5 in the first half as well. I wish I had the breakdowns by half. But I think I do remember it was about 5. So they converted 5 third downs in both halves. Wyoming, 3 of 12 on third down, just for example. And we'll get more into that. I mean, we'll talk about it because it needs to be talked about, but I think we should enjoy this win because we have witnessed really a miracle, which is funny because shortly before that happened, I was talking with, I think one of the guys in here might have been Zach. Maybe it was you, where I was like, Bull's got people brainwashed into thinking he's a miracle worker. Well, you know what? Maybe he is because they blocked that kick. Like shortly after I said that.
Well, and I think the text that you sent me right before that was, "This is horrific." And I think that was as they were marching down the field on like a 7-minute drive to finish out the game.
Yes, they were.
They were using our own crap against us, and that was very cool.
And then that's sort of I was gearing up for the losing postgame show, and that was going to be I'm going to go Wyoming got beat by their own game.
Yeah,
is what was
because they were marching down the field with just a slow, methodical, drive there, and it was like, and they were running the play clock down to 0. It's like, well, this is probably not going to be great, and.
Okay, Shay says similar ending to that FAU game. Well, let me just go to it. I can go to it right now and just look that up. I don't remember. I was there, but I don't remember anything other than it being a crappy stadium because FAU was playing at like a yeah. But maybe we're talking about a different year. If he's saying 2014, that's probably not it. Yeah. I think I'm confused.
Yeah, because the game I remember was a Dave Christensen game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about too. I think it was like 2008. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I guess the point I wanted to make before I got sidetracked, like we always do, is I think, we could replay the exact situation after the pick 6 1,000 times, and we may have witnessed in reality the only one time where Wyoming would actually win.
Yeah, it's wild. Probably overloaded.
I mean, maybe you did 1,000, maybe they'd win 10, right? But you're talking like it's a low percent. I would like to see, maybe can you look that up? That isn't ESPN who does the win probability. I wonder if they had that going for our game.
I'd
like to see the win probability after the pick 6. It had to be like 98% or higher. Like seriously.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, see if you can do that. Otherwise, we'll just welcome everybody in the stream. Shay's got some comments.
Too.
Brian's got a comment here. Play calling for sure was terrible. OC had no clue what to call, and we will get to that.
No. So Appalachian was 96.2% win. 96%. 96.2% to win. When it was 1st and 10 at the Wyoming 28 with 2:12 left. Things went considerably downhill from there.
Okay. So they were at 96%. Wow.
Yeah. So And App State was favored to win this game. According to ESPN, they were favored to win it from 7:40 in the second quarter on until the thing happened.
I got you.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. I think it looked like App State was favored to win most of the game, actually.
Well, granted, they had the lead, right?
Yeah, for some of it.
So, yeah, I mean, they, as you said, I agree, and we said this, right? They're a good team. Gave us a test. This was a great game. Will be interesting to see how many people saw it. Now, I saw something really crazy on Twitter earlier in the week. I'm going to have to see if it's true, but it had like a list of like the top 20 viewed like football teams for TV in the country, and Wyoming was on the list. And it must have been based off that Texas Tech game, I guess, must have had a pretty good number.
Judging by what I saw on Twitter tonight, it looked like there was a lot of people that I follow on both of my accounts that had that game on.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't even on like, one of the primetime stations. It was just on CBS Sports, which.
Yeah. Clint is a first-time visitor, I think. Welcome, Clint. He says, all motions on full throttle. Yes. 3-1 works after this non-conference schedule. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you and me both.
It's huge. 3-1 is huge. But there's a lot of things to fix, obviously. But 3-1 is good. And I guess, hey, only needs 3 more wins to get to a bowl. We can have that wrapped up by the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
Our bowl break.
I actually scared my dog when they intercepted that ball. He came running at me just like I was trying to murder him.
The Rook Brown interception?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a lot of yelling in this house.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any defensive numbers yet, so let's see here. And as you would expect, Easton Gibbs leading the team with 11 tackles, 11 total tackles. Harris had 1 sack, and I don't remember the sack. It must have been like on a scramble. That's the other thing I was going to say. Defensively, we weren't really getting much pressure on him, and that could have been by design.
The quarterback was good.
It's hard to say. It could have been by design.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I think it might have been by design. They probably weren't trying to rush him.
A lot of four-man pressures for sure, but for Wyoming, that's all we need most of the time.
Yeah, and Shea's got, I guess, something that we should talk about is Davis, Jordan, and Siders left hurt. Hope they're okay. Yeah, Siders didn't look good at all, and that's bad news for us.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of towards the end of the game, right?
Yes. Brian says the Texas Tech game had over 1 million viewers.
That's a lot.
Yep, that's probably the highest watched Wyoming game ever.
Well, it was on the
main CBS, as we said, right?
Yeah, it was the main CBS. It was the primetime game that night. So
the first time that we had a game on like national, like on a cable network since that Utah game.
Mm-hmm.
But even those back then, remember, I think a lot of those ABC games were still regional.
Could be.
I don't think that was a national game. I think it was just a Mountain West game.
Yeah.
Here we go. Zach's here. Zach says he's a little behind, but yes, that was me. Okay. Welcome. Glad to see you. We could all be friends. As people know, I'm pretty opinionated.
No.
Yeah.
No. If people knew half the shit that you texted me throughout the week, they'd be like, what the hell is wrong with him?
No, come on. I'm very sane. It's just the lack of an offense makes me act this way. And we'll get to that because really, when we look at these stats, Wyoming had no business winning this game. You're not going to beat anybody. If they have an offensive performance like this again, they will not win. I guarantee you, unless they're playing like a YMCA flag football team. But I don't think they're on the schedule this year.
Do you want to hear a stat that's going to make you mad that you probably already know?
Okay, sure. Go. Shoot.
We had more penalties than completions.
Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, let's see what that penalties ended up at. I'm looking here. 8? Okay.
They only had one. They had 7 in the first half, 1 in the second.
1 in the second, which is good.
Which was Wyatt Whelan's intentional pass interference. Or not Wyatt Whelan, Austin Eckler, excuse me.
Yes, which was great. That saved the game.
Yep.
I mean, that's a game-saving. Now, I
It
don't know if he
totally
did it
was.
on purpose. He probably did.
It looked like it
Yeah.
because I don't think the receiver would have caught that ball anyways, but
You
he
can't
probably
take
had
that
to do that.
chance. Yeah.
Huh?
You can't take
Yeah,
the
give
chance.
him no chance.
Yeah. So, yeah. The big thing is, right, Wyoming is like in the top 5 in the nation in terms of fewest penalties.
Yeah,
They
they
had
were
9 through the first 3 games, and then they had 7 today. So that's not great. 8, sorry, yeah, 7 in the first half. So they almost matched their entire 3-game total in one half, which is not ideal.
And to your point that you texted me before the game, or before we started the stream here, we also had more penalties than our plays on our longest drive.
Yes, and we'll get to that. So I guess we'll just mention it. I mean, Wyoming's longest drive in this game was 6 plays, and those drives ended on 2 punts. So again, that's not sustainable. It'll be very interesting to see what Bull has to say and what questions they ask him. Yes, it feels good to win, but you can't. The offense has to do something. I mean, listen to these plays. We got 4 plays, 6 plays, 5 plays on a touchdown on a short field after the fumble. 3 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 6 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 4 plays, and then a 1-play touchdown drive, and then in the game on the interception. So that's crazy. I think if you look at the history of football, the number of teams who their longest drive was 6 plays and won a football game, that's got to be like 1% or less.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
That's a shout out to the defense, right? Like,
it is.
Yeah, just what a friggin' unit they are.
Let's see. Shay always bringing up wrestling, of course. Shay says Harris had the biggest tackle, and Coach Branch should recruit him after that double or blast double. Your thoughts? Well, Devin Harris as a 2-sport athlete at Wyoming in wrestling and football.
Could be. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I think Dusty Hofschneider was
Hofschneider back in the day
was a played defensive line and wrestled heavyweight, so that's kind of cool.
And there was another guy we had too, another defensive lineman. They tend to be defensive linemen.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I'll look it up. We could talk about it. Yeah, Brian, we'll get to the Mountain West scoreboard, but I did see that USU is using a JMU, but that's not really a.
They came back.
JMU is solid.
They came back too. It was 31-7. Now it's 38-31.
I don't know. JMU would give us a game.
JMU probably beat us. They're very good.
Yeah, they could probably beat us. Yeah. Yeah.
They should have been a bowl team last year, but the NCAA sucks and their rules are stupid. So
yes, and we talked about that.
Yeah,
and the whole ineligible thing for moving up. I mean, what? If you're good enough, you're good enough. Yeah. So again, a crazy game. Wyoming moves to 3-1. Yeah, I don't know how. I'm trying to talk about good things, right? Red Shoe Man didn't have a field goal attempt.
I know. He must
feel never had the ball. Here. We never drove the ball, so he didn't get a kick. Special teams obviously did great with the field goal block. Who blocked the kick? I haven't actually saw the replay of the kick. It just I was like doing something, and then I heard, and it's blocked, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it's on the old Twitter device here.
Yeah, who blocked the who? I mean, that should be the player of the game.
Yeah.
Who
Let me see if I can play this muted.
And then who ran it back? Let's find out. Let's go to scoring. Scoring.
Number 7 ran it back.
Number 7.
Is that helpful?
Hawkins.
So
Hawkins is the cornerback transfer. Blocked the field goal. Oh, he got the recovery of the field goal. I don't think he blocked it.
The block is kind of hard to tell because it kind of looks like he might have kicked into the ass of his own player.
Okay. And that's what they said on TV, that it was a low kick.
Yeah, because like we had 2 guys like really high. We had 2 guys jump at it, and I don't think the ball made it to him. But the angle that I'm looking at here, like it kind of cut away like right as the ball would have hit them 2 guys. So
yeah,
it's hard to say.
Similar to the Texas Tech where the they kicked it into the back of their center.
Yeah.
Is it
That
really what
happens
happened?
sometimes.
So then it got recovered by Ja'Cory Hawkins, which is very fortunate for us because he's got to be one of the fastest guys on the team.
Yeah.
62 yards the other way with a minute 52 left.
We'll take it.
Incredible. So that, if you look at the scoring by quarter, there was 21 points scored, or actually 22 because of the 2-point conversion. 22 points scored in the fourth quarter. In the last, heck. Well, 11:42, I guess, is when the interception happened. So in the last 11:42 of the game, there was 23 points scored. Or 22, sorry. Or I keep saying 23. Yeah, there's a lot to take in here. Punting wise, Stewart had another pretty iffy night, which you can't have, right?
That shank was bad, but he downed 2 inside the 5. So
he did, that's true. And then let's talk about.
And he almost had a third. That one that just trailed into the end, or kind of landed in the end zone. That was close to being a third one.
Drew Severn. He broke the kicks, Shay?
Yeah, Drew Severn. That's right. I think his uncle was Dan from
Or was he the wrestler guy?
No, Drew played for the Cowboys. Dan, I think, was his uncle that wrestled or was in UFC for a long time.
Okay.
I remember, right?
Okay. Yeah, so Severn. Yeah, I remember Severn.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
What were we just talking about? Before he interrupted my train of thought. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I had a good point to make. We were talking about the punts. So that got me thinking about
Clayton Stewart. Iffy night.
That got me thinking about the App State to where apparently there's a rule now where you can touch the ball and it can go to the end zone and you can down it. Yes, here we go. Eric brings it right up right now. Yeah, I don't know. We never got says random question. Is a muff punt recovered by the receiving team in the end zone also a touchback in the NFL? I'm pretty sure you can't run it. You can't be the first person to touch the ball. You have to bring it out of the end zone. Maybe it's just a college rule.
There's a lot of rules that changed in college this year, so who knows?
But I don't but that makes no sense to me because that gives you an incentive. Like technically, right? You could, if you knew nobody was coming and you're like near the goal line, you could like fumble the ball into the end zone and take a knee and get the ball at the 20 instead of being stuck at the 2. That seems like a rule that should not be in the books if that's the intent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought once you touch it, it's live and you have to bring it out. So they must have changed that rule, and they do. Like you said, they change rules all the time. If somebody knows better, please let me know.
Yep.
I think Shay must be a little behind. Shay says that Devon Harris blocked the kick, I think. Yeah, and then Hawkins ran it back. But he's saying this now, like 5 minutes after we talked about it.
Jesus, Shay.
So I don't know. Some people might be having some problems. But yeah, back to what Eric and welcome Eric. Yeah, very bizarre. And we never got an explanation. Supposedly they gave an explanation on TV, but again, even TV didn't show it. And the TV was horrific, as I told you about. Remember on Monday when I was talking about Randy? Randy Cross is a train wreck. The guy has no clue what the hell he's talking about. He's even worse than me.
Like 100 years ago.
He had a lot of concussions playing in the 70s and the 80s as a receiver.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know. Did he play in the 70s or was it just the 80s? Or actually, did he play in the 90s? I know he played for the Seahawks, I want to say. And the Raiders. Let's look him up.
Yeah, I don't know much. I don't know too much about him, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, no, he wasn't a receiver.
No.
He wasn't a lineman. I don't know why I thought he was a receiver. Who's the other guy?
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, I don't know if that's quite right.
No, he was a guard and a center. So he definitely had all kinds of concussions. Yeah, he played in the 70s and the 80s. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Played for the... Yeah. Then who's the other guy who used to play for the Raiders who was a wide receiver? He was on there too. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if you can put anybody, as Brian just said. I don't know if you could put anybody into the Collinsworth. Well, you could put Phil Simms there, I guess.
Oh, Collinsworth. Yeah, he played for the Raiders.
Played for the Bengals.
And the Bengals. But I think that's who I'm getting crossed up in my head. Very good. Yeah, again, just incredible. 3-1, right? As I said, we'll all take it for sure.
Yeah, I think we kind of expected 2-2 headed into conference play. So 3-1 seems like kind of a cherry on top, in my opinion.
It is. It's a great development. And now we gear up to open up conference play next week against New Mexico, which is
Lost to UMass today.
Kind of a bugaboo team for bowl, but you would hope that we'd be all right. They lost to UMass, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw
good.
that.
That's not good.
UMass. Yeah, I don't know. Both teams suck. We said that earlier.
Yeah, Clint's got Collinsworth was the receiver.
So, do you think that the Cowboys maybe put Texas Tech on a death spiral? They're 1-3 now, and they lost to West Virginia today.
Without Rocky? Brian says they're without Rocky, New Mexico. Well, or you're saying his bugaboo is New Mexico without Rocky, because I think he's lost twice to I don't even know if that guy's their coach anymore. I think he got fired, right?
Rocky's at San Diego State or something.
Well, I know, but I'm thinking the guy who took over, remember his name was like Brian Gonzalez or something like that? Remember? And we lost to them and we played them in Vegas, remember?
Oh, no. New Mexico won in overtime.
Yeah, Rocky's gone. Yeah. But we've lost twice to them without Rocky. With the guy who I think got fired. Was it? His name was Danny Gonzalez, I'm pretty sure.
It was Danny Gonzalez, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Remember, we lost to them when they had to play in Vegas during COVID, and they couldn't practice, and they were like practicing in like a hotel ballroom, and then they beat us. And I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the thing that would probably happen.
I should probably let that go, but I won't.
You won't.
He's saying my stream is delayed.
Probably.
Well, considering that we're live, Shay, I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah.
Brad, are we stuck into some kind of like time continuum that I'm unaware of?
It's possible. Yeah, Danny Gonzalez is still their head coach.
He's still there? How? What's his record?
I don't know.
Bad.
I don't know. New Mexico's bad. It probably
look it up. What's his record? I want to know his record. It's got to be like 10-50.
So head coach, he's 7-24.
Oosh, 7-24, and he still has his job.
Well, to be fair, the bar is set a little bit lower for New Mexico football.
It's a basketball school, right?
It's a basketball. Well, not even that.
It's not anymore. Yeah, it used to be. Eric says 9-26, but 9-27 now with the loss to UMass. I guess you're adding in. What?
Beat UMass.
Oh, they beat them.
Yeah, in overtime.
Oh, you told me they lost.
Yeah, but then I thought they did because of what I saw. Like I saw the score late in the game, super late in the game,
and
UMass took the lead.
Yeah, so just to look forward here quickly, New Mexico and Fresno State. So Wyoming's got a nice stretch here, 3 home games in a row.
Oh no,
with New Mexico and Fresno State coming into town in the next 2 weeks.
I guess that means not many crappy weather games in Laramie this winter or this fall.
How so?
Well, if they have 3 in a row here.
Oh, sure.
We should only have two that are late season.
Yeah.
I think Hawaii is one of them.
It is. So let me check the game time on that one next week for everybody. Quickly. And then we'll talk about the offense because it has to be talked about.
It's interesting. Syracuse is actually good this year too.
Yeah, I thought it was an afternoon. So next week it is a 2 p.m. kickoff for New Mexico, and it is a Mountain West Network game.
Oh,
so
no.
Online only.
Oh no.
And then following week, it hasn't been announced yet, but we should probably hear early next week. It's on a Fox network. So
probably Fox Sports 1.
it might be it's a TBA for time. So you know what? Oh, geez, I hate this, but I'm thinking we're probably getting like an 8 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Would be my guess.
Just like Fresno State right now, basically.
Basically. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but reading the tea leaves, right?
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be a big game too. Especially if they won't know if we beat New Mexico, but I mean we need to, obviously. So Yep. So 2 p.m. next week at the War for New Mexico. And yeah, so let's talk about the offense. Because it is the elephant in the room. They got to figure something out, man. I mean, I don't know if Peasley is either A, hurt still.
He didn't run much today.
Or, yeah, that's true, he didn't. Or B, incredibly ineffective. And either way, he can't be out there if that's what we're going to have to deal with. Because you can't go 5 of 15 for 31 yards passing. You're not going to beat anybody doing that. It's a miracle that we won this game. Well, and this is what angers me, is because I watch football all day and I can see everybody can move the dang ball. Everybody can, but us.
And to be fair, our offensive coordinator did come from Iowa.
Yes, which is probably not the best place to do it.
Yeah.
Clinton has a vote for Hurt. I agree, because his throwing accuracy was bad and he had no zip on his balls. We had guys open. There were 2 or 3 passes and we dropped a couple, right? Tight ends dropped a couple of those middle passes. A couple of the deep balls, the guy was wide open. All you have to do is put it anywhere near him and you're going to have a touchdown. But he couldn't get it done. So
Asante was like there. Like that deep pass to him was like, man, that probably should have been caught.
Yep. And then Clint, and I pointed this out on Twitter. Oh, no, hold on here. This thing's being stupid. It's like racking up on me. Clint says you don't hold the ball for 10 seconds in the pocket versus a 3-man rush if you are healthy. Exactly. He's not in rhythm. He's not reading the game. And I don't want people to take these as like personal attacks or anything, right? Because I think people take them. I'm just evaluating quarterback play. And it's not good.
His rushing touchdown was very good, though.
It was. Yeah, and I think that's his – let me look. I think that's about the only time he ran.
One of the few.
I mean, he's credited with 6 rushing attempts for minus 15, but I think obviously those are sacks.
He had a couple of big sacks, too.
Let me see how many times he was sacked, and then we can figure out how many times he actually ran. They had 2 sacks. So he's being credited with like 4 runs, which is not a whole lot. Compared to what we're used to, right?
And maybe that was in the game plan too. Like, you don't run because you'll probably die or
yes, because so we have a lot of problems, right? He has an injured throwing arm, and he's concussion prone. Not a great thing for a combination of things for a quarterback. Thank you, Shay. Yep, Shay is staying up late for us on the East Coast. A dub is a dub, yes, sir.
He's on toddler duty too.
Have a good night, man. So, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe you need to, I don't know, right? Because the old adage is if you play 2 quarterbacks, you don't got one. But I think we're playing 1 quarterback and we don't have one. As I said this before, I think in the Texas Tech game, he's a football player, which is a compliment. He's a competitor and a football player, but he's not a quarterback. He's not a Division I quarterback. He can't throw.
Funny. I was thinking about that quote earlier. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that quote earlier today, and then I started thinking about Steve Spurrier, who used to constantly just shuffle quarterbacks in and out of the game, just all night long, in and out, in and out, in and out. And he had 2 quarterbacks.
Yes. So are you saying we should hire Spurrier?
Yes. Yes, I would advocate for that heavily.
Is he even still alive? Honest, this is an honest question.
Oh, yeah.
Is he? Okay.
Believe me, I will be in mourning if Steve Spurrier ever dies.
Right. Welcome. We have It's Mike. Says Andrew is not correct today. Greetings from Mexico. Mexico.
Check
That's
you out.
awesome, man. Where in Mexico are you? That's cool. So we're international tonight, Brad. Alabama switched quarterbacks. Sure. They did.
Had to.
Did you watch that game? I mean, good Lord. Now, again, and this is why I say people just get mad at me for just bagging on the offense. But at what other school could you have performances like this?
Iowa.
And I'm the crazy person for asking questions. Right? People are like, well, you can't ask that. No, I will, because at any other school, the offensive coordinator would be fired by now. The head coach would be just getting absolutely obliterated in the press, and the quarterback would be benched.
What was it?
But not at Wyoming because we're too nice.
What was it the Bull said during media days this year? Like, one of the guys from the Reddit page asked him a question, and Bull knew immediately. He was like, "Oh, you're the guy from Reddit, huh?"
Yeah. I forget exactly.
Yeah, it was something along those lines, but it was pretty funny.
Oh, man. But, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, intangibles for this team are off the charts. But you're not going to get away playing like this and beating good football teams. Now, this is not me. I don't think this team can win a conference title, but now the people in the media are saying it. Bull and the players are saying it preseason. How many conference title winning teams do you see going 5 for 15 throwing the ball that aren't running the if we're running the pure option? Sure, that's great. But we're a pro style offense.
I almost just said Air Force.
What was that?
I almost just said Air Force.
Well, sure. And if you're 5 of 15 throwing the ball for Air Force, that's fine. But you can't do it when you're a pro style West Coast offense, because what is the West Coast offense predicated on?
Well, our friend Mike Shanahan, implemented that, or stole it from Bill Walsh. That implemented it.
He made it better, yes. But Bill Walsh. But the idea is that the West Coast offense is based off a quick, short passing game. We don't do that. So to call us a West Coast offense, it may be in like some schematic things they take from it, but we're not West Coast offense.
Maybe it's Midwest Coast.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here we go. He's from Lyon, in the center of the country. Probably the only Pokes fan in the entire country. There might be one more, I'm sure. Well, greetings, man. Glad you found us. That's very cool, I think. How is the Pliny?
It's delicious.
Why are you drinking out of the bottle? Why not? Here's another question somebody has. Twisted Vortex. I think we've seen you in here before. I should actually read these before I put them on screen, huh? It might be a little dicey. I also don't understand why we don't run QB sneaks in 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2. They were doing some sneaks tonight, and they had a couple where they had procedure penalties that stopped them, right?
Yeah. I think Frank Crump jumped on one of them.
Sure. So they do them, and it makes sense, right? But that's all the rage now, like they're saying, that Eagles type of style on those short yardage plays. But if you're going to do that, that's when you bring in Svoboda.
Say Jalen Hurts is a freak horse, too, for the Eagles.
Jalen Hurts is not the biggest guy in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, but he squats like 800 pounds.
He does. Yeah.
It was kind of funny. If you listen to the play-by-play guy tonight, App State went for it on 4th and 1, I think it was, and they were in Cowboy territory, and they ran the ball out of the shotgun and didn't get it. The Cowboys hit him about a yard behind the line, and the play-by-play guy was just like, he's like, "What are you doing? Get behind center and run the ball." He was like kind of angry about it, but I think that something like that is just a project of coaches like outsmarting themselves. It's like,
look at this.
Just take the easy thing and just run the ball.
Emojis work in the chat.
Oh, wow.
Twisted Vortex says he's an Eagles fan with a nice little eagle emoji. I like the look of that eagle emoji.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see if what Bowl had to say post game. Hopefully the media just didn't, right? The media's there to ask questions. We
Just
can all be
asking
happy
questions.
that we won, but the display on offense is pathetic. Beyond pathetic. As we said. I mean, you can't have, let's look at these final numbers, folks. Let's go through the final stats. That's what we can do. Wyoming was outgained 417 to 208.
Mm-hmm.
Horrific. Passing yards, 200 to 31.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Rushing yards, a little more even, 217 to 177. But granted, 75 of those came on one play.
Yep. It was a good
Penalties, 8-2. First downs, 27 first downs for App State, 7 for Wyoming. Folks, you're not going to win a game if this happens again. You're going to get blown out. Unless it's against like New Mexico. I guess you might be able to do it against them.
Yeah.
Total plays 90 to 42 because they couldn't stay on the field.
Well, and we were outgained in time of possession, like 40 to 20, basically.
40-25 to 19-35. Doubled up in time of possession at home. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. So I don't know. Again, it's not going to, if they wanted to fix the offense, it would have been fixed, but they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you can't go, this is, how many years has it been? Since Josh Allen's junior season was not very good. Was it the sophomore season when we went to the conference title game, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. That was our best year under Bowl offensively. And then since then, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. Now, actually, it got a little better after the whole, what was the name of that quarterback? I forget already.
Cameron Kaufman.
No, he was actually fine. If you look at those numbers, those are some of Bowl's best passing numbers ever, which is really bonkers.
Yeah.
But the idea is that since Josh Allen has left, they have had a very hard time getting productive quarterback play. And if they wanted to fix it, they would have fixed it. But they've had 5 years to fix it. And it's not getting fixed. So things are what they are. I'm still going to complain because in the end, you got to score points.
Yep.
Brian has a comment. Development programs aren't about winning. Well, yes, and I almost think that Bowl would rather develop players and lose than win games. I think you're kind of right. Which is fine. And I understand that we have to do that at Wyoming, right? To a degree.
What? Oh.
Develop players, like they were talking about. Like they were talking about turning like a high school wide receiver into like a stud defensive lineman. Like App State had that. Remember Carl Granderson just got a deal today? I think he was a JUCO wide receiver, wasn't he?
Just got his bag.
Yeah, he was he was like a JUCO tight end or a JUCO wide receiver, and we turned him into a defensive end who turned into a freaking monster. Same thing, the governor, Logan Wilson.
Tight end, and was he a tight end?
He was like just a tiny dude, and they built him up into this freaking beast of a player. So, and that's good. You have to do that. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't give you an excuse to score 10 points a game.
Yeah.
And to not be able to complete any passes. I mean, good Lord, think if we had if we had App State's quarterback, how good would we be?
Holy shit, that guy's good.
Right? And they said he's a JUCO transfer. We could have gotten him.
Yep.
But the bottom line is Peasley was Bowl's handpicked transfer portal quarterback. And he's been well less than average. Svoboda's a developmental guy. And as we talked last week, he played better than Peasley did at Texas than Peasley did at home against App State. That's for sure. So, not to get ripping into that too much, and we'll have time to talk about it because it's not going to get fixed. But the quarterback problem is a problem.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens, I guess, right? Peasley will be gone. We'll have a spot open. You have to go transfer portal and get an experienced quarterback. But the problem is, right, who's going to want to come and play in this system given what they've seen? So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Brian says that Sam Scott, two-way player. That's true. And he did that in high school. And he brings up this too. No QB coach that teaches technique. Yeah, that's a fine line. Let's talk about that. That's kind of a big picture thing. The whole QB coach philosophy. I'd be interested to see like how many of the top schools have like a dedicated quarterbacks coach, because usually it's just by default, right? The OC is the quarterback coach. Now, granted, at Wyoming, Polasek played quarterback in college. Now, granted, at I think the Division II level.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, and he played at a good program, and he was a good quarterback. But yeah, and I do believe it comes down to fundamentals and technique. They're bad. Bad.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't see it too much today because I guess I wasn't paying attention as I normally do. But Peasley's footwork is poor, very poor.
Throws off his back foot.
I mean, you can't. Yeah, and you can do that if you're Josh Allen threw off his back foot, but he also had a world-class arm. And that's John Elway threw off his back foot. Well, yeah, John Elway and Josh Allen can do that. So I don't know. What about like Montana? I think it's a little different there, coaching staff wise. But do they have like a dedicated QB coach?
No.
Or is it usually?
I think it's Tim Rosenbach.
It's like the OC just does.
I think it's OC and a little bit of Tim Rosenbach. Rosenbach, as you remember, played for the Phoenix Cardinals.
Okay.
If you were a Tecmo Super Bowl player.
All right, let's see here. I don't know how long have we been going here. Usually I have a timer, but I don't see a timer.
We're at 52 minutes.
Okay. Well, this is a long time.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap up.
We will wrap up here. Just looking at any other stats that may pop out. There's really nothing. I mean, we pretty much hit everything. Again, I'm looking at this. No tight ends caught a ball. Now, granted, because they dropped him. Like Welch dropped his one target, his one pass thrown his way. But that was the big thing that I was like really happy about in the Texas Tech game is they were getting the tight ends involved.
Yep.
And since
then, they need to again.
Completely not even involved at all in the passing game. Although I don't see why the 2-point conversion, was that a run? It's not on here at all. That's kind of weird. Because Gillenborg is I guess that doesn't count in the official stat line for some reason. Because it's not in here as an official catch. I'll have to look that up. I guess it just counts as a PAT attempt, so it's like its special stat line.
Could be.
Interesting. All right, Clint's got one more. Far too many drops. They did try to hit them in the third quarter. Yeah, they did. All right. Yeah, we've been going for a long time.
Yep.
So, hey, it's better to be talking about all these problems 3-1 than being 1-3 or 2-2. So we will take it. But let's hope that the coaching staff cares half as much as we do.
I hope. That's why we pay them.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts, Brad, before we wrap up for this night?
Win's a win. We'll take it. We're better than we thought we would be in the preseason. So
here we go. So Brad is taking the very traitorous Al Davis approach. Just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
All right. And we'll leave it there. Brian with a thumbs up with the Cowboys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will have a replay of this up on YouTube tomorrow at some point after I polish it up. But Wyoming wins 22-19 against Appalachian State. And next week we'll host the New Mexico Lobos at the War. So we will see you on the roundup on Monday night. Well, we'll probably be a little more level-headed. Maybe. So, for Brad Reed, I am Chad Smith. Thank you for watching the WyoNation postgame show. Go Pokes, and we'll see you soon.